We pull no punches. Press the button, subscribe.
Fight fans, morning and welcome. And today's special guest here with me is none other than Steve Spivak. Steve, how you doing, mate?
Morning, Darren. Yeah, I'm good. You?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks, mate. And I'm looking forward to having this chat with you about this big fight coming on
Thanks for having me
Saturday.
on. Yeah, thanks
No
for having
problem,
me on
mate.
again.
Yeah, it's really good to get you back on. Only the top boxing analysis on this show, mate.
I don't know about that.
Well, hopefully you've had plenty of beer and snacks over the weekend, have you?
Been a quiet weekend, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've been to the gym a bit, so yeah. But planning a barbecue this afternoon, so I'm sure I'll make up for it. So
Brilliant. That was your first little question. I think all the fans watching this will want to know if you had the beer and snacks the weekend. So on Saturday, as we said, August the 16th, live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, on DAZN pay-per-view, we have the young, youthful, hungry, powerful, fast hands of Moses Itauma versus the experience and resilience of Dillian Whyte. A fascinating contest, in my opinion. Do you agree, Steve?
yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Really, because it's all like you just said. It's almost that youth against experience. You know, White's been in with some of the best out there, certainly, and he's beaten some of them as well. So you've got to take acknowledgement for that. But yeah, it's definitely an intriguing one.
Totally agree. Well, we've got Moses Itauma at 20 years of age, 12 fights, 12 wins, 10 KOs. Dillian Whyte, age 37, 34 fights, 31 wins, 3 losses, and 21 KOs in them wins. So I guess when I've labelled this youth versus experience, at the age of 27 versus 37 and 12 fights as a pro to 34 fights as a pro, that's probably a bit of an understatement, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you said 27. I'm sure at the time I was only 20.
Oh, sorry, sorry,
Yeah.
20. Sunday
Yeah,
morning
so
when we're recording,
yeah,
forgive me for that one.
have another coffee.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
there's a massive age gap there. 17 years of experience White has got on him, and going back to the fighters he's fought, experience-wise, you know, he's been in the ring with Fury, Povetkin twice. Obviously, the first fight didn't go quite as planned. Joseph Parker, he's got a win over Joseph Parker. So you know, look at that experience, the fighters, the pedigree White has been in with. And obviously Moses is pretty much start of his career. I think looking at his records, you know, McKean, would you say, you know, one of the best fighters he's fought, really, and blew him away in the round. So it is an intriguing one anyway, interesting one.
Yeah, well, he's doing everything right at the moment. Moses Itauma is pretty much, as you say, flattening everyone in front of him. Nobody's really standing a chance. The hype is real. So, do you give Dillian Whyte? We won't come to predictions yet, but do you give
No.
Dillian Whyte a chance in this? Straight no. You don't give him a chance.
Yeah, every heavyweight's got a chance. Every heavyweight. It only takes one punch to change it. It really does. But what the interesting thing, what kind of weight, what kind of conditioning is White going to come in at? That's my concern. I think I've done some research and I looked at his last weight. He was like 261 pounds in his last fight. So what kind of conditioning, what kind of weight are we looking at with White? And,
Well,
and
we will.
Yeah. And he has got that
we will.
chance.
He's definitely got that, and we will come to the weight front. I don't think you've seen it. He's looking in tremendous shape, Dillian Whyte. So
I've seen
he is
training
looking.
videos. He does look in great shape, but
It doesn't always come out on fight night, does it?
Yeah, exactly. We've seen, Mike Tyson short clips, and he looked brilliant, didn't he? And then obviously come fight time, that conditioning weren't there, was it?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we do see. I mean, we saw Andy Ruiz as well for the second Joshua fight, looking as though he'd slimmed down loads, and then all of a sudden he comes out. So
those 30-second training clips are deceiving.
yeah, that was a perfect example, that one. So we've got Moses Itauma, who's a very slick southpaw, Dillian Whyte, who fights from an orthodox stance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Dillian Whyte can have enough experience on his side to know what Itauma will bring and put up a really good game plan to counter Moses Itauma.
Yeah, well, he's a southpaw for starts, and no one likes fighting southpaws, do they? Really? So,
Mm.
will he have that experience? Yeah, he's potentially got that experience, but I really do think he's got to go in there and almost disrupt his flow, his game plan. You know, surprise him from the start with, you know, you're fighting a pedigree heavyweight with that power. You know, bang, hit with a shot. You know, Whyte's a proper heavyweight, proper. He can bang. So you want to surprise him. I think that would be his tactic. So, and, you know,
Yeah.
try and get a few good shots in early if you can.
Yeah, I think Dillian Whyte, as we've mentioned about the weight, and the way he is looking, let's hope he does come in like that. I think he's totally focused on this, and I think he's at a stage of his career now where he thinks sort of, this is my last chance saloon. Not that he can't get another fight after this if he loses, but I just think that he's at that stage now where he knows he's got to perform to be at the big stage again, to have these big fights. Because let's be honest, we can't imagine a career of Dillian Whyte fighting on low down on the undercard, can we? The way what he's been used to in his career.
Yeah.
And well, we look at his record of who he's been in with. You've already mentioned some. He beat Joseph Parker, avenged his defeat to Alexander Povetkin, beaten Oscar Rivas, been in with Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, 2 wars with Derek Chisora as well. He won both of them. I mean, just to name a few names, Steve, are we jumping the gun here at this stage with Moses Itauma? Like a lot of people, from what you were seeing on social media and fans you speak to, all I'm hearing is Moses Itauma's going to take him apart in a few rounds. Like, do you honestly think, not that I'm asking for a prediction as such, but do you honestly think Moses Itauma is capable of just steamrolling through Dillian Whyte?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. If you look at form and Whyte's form as well, last few fights, he's not been great, has he? The last few fights he's been out. You know, that fight with Franklin, a lot of people thought he should have lost that on the cards, on decisions. So if you're
Yeah.
going with form, the timing could be absolutely right for a timer. It could be absolutely spot on timing wise to get Whyte. He's pretty much at his end of his career based on his last few fights. If you ask me, the timing is right.
And would be the perfect name on his record as well at this stage.
Brilliant name.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you look as well, we talk about the losses that Dillian Whyte has had. I mean, you know, the opposition, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, just to name a couple, like Alexander Povetkin as well. And he's been stopped in all of those. So the one thing we do know about Dillian Whyte is he can be vulnerable to a shot. Does he
I
take
know
them
what you're
well? I
gonna
mean,
say. I know what you're gonna say. He loves an uppercut.
well, that Alexander Povetkin one. I don't think he woke up for a week, did he?
No, I think that was going around on social media, and it's still going around on social media as one of the favourite knockouts ever. I think, and I think it will go on in history. It was brutal knockout.
Absolutely brutal, and it's just a shame it happened in lockdown as well with no crowd there. That was
No,
the real sad thing of that one. But even when he's won fights as well, he knocked Joseph Parker down, beat Joseph Parker, got dropped himself, just about hung on in the 12th round. Then he got dropped by Oscar Rivas as well. So he is vulnerable to a shot. And when you've got a young, hungry, fast-handed opponent like Moses Itauma, this could be a real deadly situation. But we will get to how we think the fight will go. I mean, last time out, Dillian Whyte come up against Ebenezer Tete, who's 37, who looks 57. It wasn't impressive at all. He got involved in a bit of a war. He did get the job done when Tete retired at the end of round 7.
yeah,
But then
it was a bit
Fraser
bizarre
Clark,
ending, wasn't it? Yeah.
bizarre ending, and then Fraser Clark fights Ebenezer Tete next fight and absolutely obliterates him in 1 round. And Fraser Clark's not really what you'd call a massive banger, and he took Tete out there with a great KO.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is good preparations for a 20-year-old wrecking ball for what Dillian Whyte's had in his last fight to come to this now?
Yeah, Yeah, I do. I think it's a great name to have on the record for him, and it will propel him for bigger fights. Hopefully, not fast track too much, but get some good, decent opponents, some good names. There's some great domestic fights there at heavyweight for him as well.
But you know the preparations that Dillian Whyte's
Mm.
had, like with Ebenezer Tete, like it's you would have thought that Dillian Whyte would have had a better build up to this fight for Moser Town. I mean, as we said, Ebenezer Tete is 37, slow, ponderous, and then you're fighting a guy who's 20, who's lightning quick. It just spells danger for Dillian
Mm.
Whyte coming from that going to this now. But Moser Tauma's last fight was a 2-round blowout of Mike Balogun. Nothing to report, easy win. The best name on his record is a 45, in my opinion, he's a 45-year-old Marius Vac. Marius Vac
Well,
obviously did challenge
yeah.
for world titles against Vladimir Klitschko.
Mm-hmm.
Wack only lasted 2 rounds with Moses Itauma. What he's stepping up to here, really, though, for Moses Itauma is huge, isn't it? To go from that kind of level, Mike
Mm.
Balogun last time, to Dillian Whyte, the golfing class is huge, what he's stepping up to
Yeah.
now, isn't it?
Yeah, but I just think based on White's last fights, the deterioration is there. He's doing the fight. He's probably getting paid well for this fight as well. Obviously, Saudi money. You know, he'd be paid well on that.
Yeah, I mean, the questions as well that are hanging over Moser Town is, one, can he take a shot? Two, and what's his stamina and engine like? Can he go to the
Yeah.
trenches? Will Dillian Whyte test this, do you believe?
Well, I do. Yeah, I do. I think, like I said, going back to my early thoughts on the fight, I think and early and say, look, this is a proper heavyweight punch. This is you're up against an experienced guy. I've been in the ring with Fury, Chisora, Parker, Povetkin. These are proper fighters. You want to test that chin straight away, and whether Moses, feels that power, reacts to that power. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Really.
Definitely is, and you talk about that left hook, the power that Dillian Whyte carries, his signature shot, that left hook. Over the years, we've seen some cracking KOs from him, the likes of knocking out Derek Chisora, just like some brilliant highlight reel KOs. So he is dangerous. He's the experienced one in the fight against the youth of Moser Itauma. How do you think the fight will go, and who do you think wins?
Okay. Personally, I think it will be a steamroller. I think Itauma will go for him. I don't see it going past four rounds, and it will be a stoppage knockout. Whyte loves. He's a sucker for an uppercut. Look out for it. Uppercut.
Are you expecting that to be the shot that ends it?
Absolutely. Everyone.
You think Itauma will work on that and land that shot?
100%. 100%. Look out for big knockout.
Okay.
I don't see it going past 4 rounds at all.
He's confident. He's confident in that one. I think Dillian Whyte will have to weather the storm early on. Definitely will. I think Dillian Whyte's got the experience to take Itauma the longer rounds, but we're questioning and don't know about the stamina of Moser Itauma. I think we'll find out about it here. I think Dillian Whyte will drag him some rounds, tuck up and weather the storm. But I still think the youth and fast hands and the energy of Moser Itauma will be too much for Dillian Whyte. I'm expecting it to go about 7 to 8 rounds. I do think Dillian Whyte can hang in there for then, but I think at 37 years of age, I don't think he's going to be able to have the stamina to keep going at the pace that Moses Itauma will want to go at in this fight. But I think it's a good one, and I think it will be interesting while it lasts. Do I think Dillian Whyte might have to get up off the floor, possibly, and carry on the fight? Do I think he'll be sparked out? Not sure. I think the referee might jump in and call it off for Dillian Whyte. But I think we'll get more than 4 rounds, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But you sound very, very confident, Steve, in your prediction.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I think the timing is just right, and fights are all about timing. Matchmaking is all about timing,
I agree.
and I think he'll want to carry on that, the knockout reels, and this will certainly push him into that big mix of heavyweight superstardom.
Yeah, I
definitely,
agree.
if he's not there
Yeah, I
already.
agree. Especially like
Yeah.
with a win with Dillian Whyte, perfect timing, good matchmaking. So Moses Itauma will move on to the big stage. Lots of interesting fights can be made for him next. What do you think this would do for Dillian Whyte then? Career done?
Done. Absolutely done. I think this is probably his last payday. I really don't see any other fights out there. He's already a gatekeeper, really, for the younger guys to come through. I think he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't come back and have fights, but as I mentioned earlier, I don't think Dillian Whyte will want to be down the undercards. I just don't see him being that fighter.
No,
He's a
the
yeah,
money won't. Yeah, money won't be
he's
there.
a I wouldn't call him a prize fighter because he's fought for world titles, but he's at that stage now where he is the prize fighter. He wants to be getting paid lots of money to be the headline fight, and that won't continue, I don't believe, with losing to Moses Itauma, even though he's the next big up and coming thing. The other fight on the undercard heavyweight, I'm going to stick with the heavyweights. Quick one is Filip Hrgović versus David Adelaide. Interesting fight. Last time out, Hrgović beat Joe Joyce unanimous decision. David Adelaide stopped Jamie TKV in 6 rounds controversially. One loss to Dubois for Hrgović, one loss to Wardley for Adelaide. I like this fight. I think it's very decent. How do you see this one going?
I think this one's going to be a bit of a boring one. Yeah. Well, I think Hrgović, like you said, both kind of similar records when you look at it, but the pedigree of who Hrgović has been fighting to Adelaide is different, isn't it? That's what you got to look at, really. I really seen this being not a mega exciting fight, a lot of clinches, a lot of hanging on, and you've put me on spot for decision, but I'll go boring fight, decision, Hrgović. I really do.
I probably think that Hrgović will win this on points. I think Adelaide could run out of gas in the fight, going the distance. But the only thing that I feel the fight Hrgović versus Joe Joyce was very good. The only thing that I think Hrgović is guilty of sometimes is he labours and gets ponderous in fights. He's just a bit like, I agree, he has to have the opponent in front of him to make him exciting. And Joe Joyce, the way he comes forward, made it a very interesting, good fight. But I think Hrgović will probably labour to a points winner, yeah. But let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, do you think it?
Yeah.
You just think it'd just be a boring fight, a unanimous decision win for Hrgović?
Yeah. I think Hrgović has been the biggest disappointment in the heavyweight division for a long time. He was a few years ago. He was tagged to be this superstar, just not delivered for me.
Yeah, I agree. And like I say, laborious, ponderous, and just doesn't always put his foot on the gas when he can in fights to make things done quickly. He'd rather labour sometimes, and I think it's his letdown. It's a good card on Saturday. Interesting fights on it. I think it'd have been better with Ray Ford versus Anthony Cacace on it. Obviously, Cacace pulled out. I think it'd have been better value as a pay-per-view. My personal opinion is this shouldn't be pay-per-view. Last question, do you agree with that or don't you?
Yeah, well, hopefully this will be the last pay-per-view we're looking at, according to Turkey Al Sheikh. So, 20 quid pay-per-view, it's not bad. Nick Ball's on there. That should be a half-decent fight against Sangerman. Nick Ball, to watch Nick Ball fight, that's decent, really. So, but you're right. I wouldn't mind the Ford versus Cacace fight. That would have made it a bit more better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of critics about this being pay-per-view, and I agree with them. I don't think it's quite pay-per-view. It's a decent card, but yeah, with that fight falling apart, I do think it would have made it better value. I think we've covered in depth the youth versus experience, Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte. Live Saturday, 16th of August, Riyadh DAZN pay-per-view. Look forward to the fight. As Steve would say, I'll let him take him out. What have they got to get on Saturday, Steve?
You got
the
to get your
beers
beers
and
and snacks in,
snacks.
100%.
I thought I'd put that one out there for you.
Nice.
If everyone can, if everyone can like, share, subscribe, let us know your comments in the comment section. How you think the fight will go? Do you think Itauma will win? Do you think Dillian Whyte will win? Do you think it's pay-per-view worthy? Once again, Steve, thanks for coming on my channel. It's great to get you on, and enjoy fight night.
Yeah, and you too, dude.
Cheers.
Cheers, Darren.
Cheers. Speak to you again soon, Steve. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers.